Today we're starting the first of many road trips around the great state of Minnesota so that I can see the housing that Minnesota Housing has helped create, meet the partners who have created it, meet the people who live in it, and meet people who need it. So today in Mankato, we're driving down a familiar road. Back when I was the executive director at Hearth Connection and we were proving that it was possible to end long-term homelessness, a lot of the work that we did was right here in Blue Earth County. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with some of the people who have done that work and find out how the work has evolved over the course of the last decade. I'm also looking forward to meeting people who are benefiting from our programs at Minnesota Housing and other people who need them. But looking forward to this and many other trips around the state. Well, we stopped this morning at the Holy Grounds breakfast at the Centenary Methodist Church. And I guess one thing that struck me more than anything is I got to talk to a guy who recently was housed with a program that I helped start when I was at Hearth Connection, and to know that we're still housing people with long histories of homelessness, and he was just hanging out at the church for community, that was really great. I'm also struck by the fact that the community works together really well. I'm so impressed with the way that they're focused on supporting people experiencing homelessness and moving them into housing.
Because I think it's such an easy problem for us to toss some resources at and solve. I mean, it is not rocket science, and I really think that if we've got the entire state working towards a goal, we've seen it with veterans homelessness, I think we can make a huge difference. And there are very innovative ways out there to address the situation, and I think the more brains we can put around the issue, the sooner we can solve it, because everybody deserves a place that's theirs to lay their head at night. And then you can start working on all the other issues that may be complicating their lives.
The second stop that we had today was at the Minnesota Valley Action Council and their headquarters. Great space, including that thrift store. We talked about the work that they do for the region with the Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program and the way that we're really starting to target those resources towards families that need just a little bit longer path to get on their own. We also talked about the exciting work that's happening with veterans homelessness and that they really have reduced across the southern region veterans homelessness down to nearly zero. Basically, I think they've effectively ended veterans homelessness. We'll see. And then finally, the really creative and interesting things that they're doing around manufactured home parks and some of the older infrastructure, older homes in those communities, and making sure that we're thinking about sometimes it's more efficient to replace an old structure, an old home, than it is to do the repair work. So I was really interested in that, and we got a chance to drive around and see some of it in the community as well. Everybody is working together towards a common goal, and that includes the managers of the parks. We all want to see that household that lives in a substandard home get a better home, make it safe for them and their family. And I think that common goal unites us. We are developing best practices, and we would like to expand this. We would like to try to get it out in the county and offer it to other parks. It's just marshaling those partners that can help fund that. We were able to have lunch with some community leaders, and what I was struck by the most was that they're really talking about the whole continuum of housing. We talked about the need for affordable new single-family homes, the need to be able to remodel the homes that are there. We talked about ending homelessness. We talked about the preservation of federally assisted housing. This is really the housing needs in the region cover all income levels and all populations. We need to be able to do more of everything, I guess was my big takeaway. It was great to sit with the mayors of North Mankato and Mankato. I was really struck by the new mayor of Mankato. Her commitment to this is really deep and personal.
My income was very low at that point, and if it wasn't for Homestead Apartments and the affordable housing, we would not. I don't know what we would have done. It was very difficult just by itself, but with the help of that affordable apartments, or however you want to say it, it gave us a chance to step up, to be able to live comfortably in a home, knowing that we had a roof over our head, and we were very fortunate. Without that, I don't know.
Our last visit was at Solace Apartments. This is an incredible new supportive housing development that started renting up last fall. What's interesting about it is it's right across from a company that builds circuit boards, and some of the people who have moved into Solace have already gotten jobs right across the street. We talked a lot about transit and people being able to get to jobs. There's folks that are in outpatient treatment. There are folks who have kids and they need to get to school. The partners and how they came together, both through the development process, but also now in bringing the right types of supports into that community, the partnerships were just really strong and profound. But I think the best thing for me was being able to talk to a couple of the tenants. One young man who really appreciated that he was getting an incredible opportunity to work on the things that he needed to in his own life in order to break his addiction and the behaviors that were tied to that, and his deep commitment to do that, living with his two sons. Just being able to see the Valentine that those kids gave their dad. And then also a woman who came in with her young son, and she also was just talking about how if it hadn't been for her apartment there, that we wouldn't have even recognized her if we had seen her a year ago, because this has really given her the stability to be able to break some of the old patterns and really put her life back together, and her commitment to making sure that she was going to take full advantage of the housing stability and affordability of living there to really get to the next place in her life. That was special.
But besides the hard work and dedication that I've put in, this has definitely been one of the reasons that I've been able to get my kids back home, because I'm not homeless, because I am able to provide a nice roof, numerous bedrooms, a good community. It's really nice to be here.
Throughout the day, we were able to drive past a lot of housing projects that Minnesota Housing has invested in. We are seeing some that are about to open in the next year. And we also saw a lot of housing, including some manufactured home communities that really need a lot of attention and investment. So, my big takeaway from this trip is we need more housing. And I'm looking forward to traveling all across the state and listening to folks that better understand their housing needs.